understand ourselves at the highest level is where we kind of become better at this in these times, in the sense that we're forced to adapt or suffer, in the sense suffering meaning, in anger, in resentment, in pain, and whatever it may be that takes over you. Hey everybody, we are back. We're back, and it is Tuesday, and I don't know what day of the quarantine it is, but I really want to share real quick my thoughts on quarantining and why I feel that um, it's kind of forcing us to see parts of ourselves that otherwise we probably have never seen, as I said before. And I want to give a quick reminder again. My daughter broke the book, but I think this book right now, Psycho-Cybernetics, is one of the most powerful self-help books that I've encountered. And that is all the books that I've read so far. As far as tapping into the initial process of the way we think, of the way we see ourselves, um, basically how we, you know, basically how we interact with others and life itself. And right now, where we are going through these transitions and uncertainty and trying to do the best that we can, I think to understand ourselves at the highest level is where we kind of become better at this in these times, in the sense that we're forced to adapt or suffer, in the sense suffering meaning, in anger, in resentment, in pain, and whatever it may be that takes over you. So this book he's talk I've read it already 2 times this week, because I want to go back to the principles. And one of the most important things I think I saw, and I wanted to share with everybody here, was and it happens to me all the time, how most of our kind of our reactions to things, and how we kind of our habits that we build in life come at a young age, and how we um, that follows us into adulthood, right? And we don't even know it. Um, and the way we view ourselves and the way we view the world, all these things have been proven and are actually really true, that are ingrained in us as an adult. Although we don't see it, we don't believe it, but if you start looking back, for example, here's an example: if your mom, your dad, at that time found the world dangerous, you're growing up with a fear mentality, and you're always protecting yourself, and you're thinking others are coming out to get you. You have this different mentality towards the world, towards as opposed to someone, let's say, that grows up with very very supportive parents, and are very open to the world, and very adapting. They believe in you. They let you follow your dreams. You have a different mentality, a different open mind to the world, which I think helps you in the long run. I think everything has its own place. So you have both mentalities. They take over certain parts of your life that you needed. They're needed. So it's not just one wrong right answer, but getting to the point that the way we view ourselves comes from when we were at a younger age. And I know for me, I've always had a lot of body insecurities. Something I've never really told anybody, but when I was younger, I was always very chubby. And moving on to like teenage years, I really started getting very conscious and self-conscious about my body and body weight, to the point where I was trying not to eat that much, just to not gain the weight and to lose the weight. Mind you, I was still being athletic, still doing sports, but I was always just a chubby kid. And I know as an adulthood, it still follows me, right? Once I got to the college years, I started just going really hardcore into the gym and trying to get myself fit, and seeing how hard it is to get yourself to that level. I took a lot of pre-workouts, took a lot of vitamins, all these things, trying to get to that shape. And once I did, I realized, I still was very conscious about my body, even my body being obviously at a better fit level than it was when I was a teenager, but I was still very conscious, very conscious about sharing my body with other people. Not sharing, but I'd be like, taking out my shirt somewhere, or like, if I see my stomach overgrown, like very self conscious. And I noticed that now, it was kind of it is a way of me, avoiding to, that self love, right? Not really loving myself who I am entirely, because of when I was younger. I remember my family members and especially my grandma, she would always tell me like, "Hey, you're too skinny. Hey, you're too overweight." They would just tell you this and bombard you at a young age. I had this coming into me already, so I was already being self conscious about my weight, how I looked to other people, how I was portrayed. So I think as a parent now, I try to understand that sometimes the way although we mean well, she wasn't trying to do it on purpose. She was doing it the best she knew how. It did put an impression on me on my body image, and it still affects me today. I can still make videos, still look at myself, but oh man, I'm not, or especially now in quarantine, I love to eat, but the more I'm able to catch those thoughts and awareness, I realize that it's all about loving yourself, and how much you love yourself. And I don't remember until a long time ago. I don't really look in the mirror that much, So these things that we kind of oversee, or basically oversee, and we kind of take for granted, are the little things that matter a long time in the long run, right? In how we treat others, how we treat ourselves, and how we move forward, and we take risk, if we go out there and pursue a career that we think it's far fetched. All these things that we are holding ourselves back from starts with that inner talk, inner view of ourselves. And no better know than the book itself. The first chapter is about self-image, and I kind of want to really make this a big point, because I know for me, still affects me nowadays as a grown adult. I can imagine how many adults out there are with the same issue. We're very self-conscious about how we look, somehow, some way, how we talk, how we come out, our body image, so many things that we self-consciously, For me, my acne as well as a teenager, I was very self-conscious of my acne. Still have it as an adult, but not as much. And there's a lot of things that we can kind of learn to love ourselves more of it. And I think the more we're able to teach that to our kids and the younger generations, I think they will be able to take better actions, better steps, better reliance on themselves, not basing their love on themselves on somebody else's view of themselves. Sorry, if sorry about that. If that makes sense. But yeah, to now with the quarantine, I think we're being forced to find out how we think about ourselves, how we actually process. We have a lot more time of just stand still, right? You go to a supermarket, you're standing in the line for 20 to 30 minutes just to get in. That's some stand a little time to think. So I think this is giving a lot of people time to think, which I always tell my daughters, thinking is probably one of the most underrated things, and we rarely do. And now with these self-quarantine, we're being forced to do it. So use it wisely, understand yourself. It's not about, how to start an entrepreneurship journey. No, it's about first learning about yourself, and then you're able to actually pursue what it is you really want to do, as opposed to what you think you have to be doing. And that's gonna be my next video. I'll see you guys. Peace.